1 year ago in the first round of the NIT. Louisiana Tech came to Florida State, knocked the Seminoles out. It's the NIT quarterfinals, just about set for the start of the second half. A 4-point lead for Florida State. The winner of this game not only is knocked out of the NIT, but goes to Madison Square Garden and the Final Four of the National Invitation Tournament to take on Minnesota. Bob Wischusen and Corey Alexander set for the start of the second half. And deja vu for both of these teams, eerily similar to where we were a year ago.
It is a few more points this year, but for Michael Kaiser being on the bench, Louisiana Tech has to be happy about the fact that they were in this game in the first half, and Florida State took advantage of no Kaiser in the game. They attacked the rim. Carl White and Aaron Thomas finding their way and able to finish easily, but it was the three-pointers that were able to keep Louisiana Tech in the game. They knocked down 5 threes in the first half. Appleby was one of the usual suspects, as well as Cordarius Johnson, who knocked down 2, and he was a major spark coming in off the bench for Louisiana Tech.
Last year, Louisiana Tech beat Florida State 71-66 on this floor in the first round of the NIT, but Florida State led that game at halftime by 4. So here we are again 1 year later, except this time it's in the quarterfinals with a trip to the Garden on the line. Both of these teams have already won a couple of games in this tournament.
And I'm sure both the coaches reminded their teams, of course, Coach White telling his team, hey guys, we've been here before. We know we can come back and win. And Coach Hamilton making sure his team is aware that they were there before and lost the game a year ago.
And Carl White starts the second half with his second personal foul. So it goes over to Louisiana Tech. And another number that jumped off the page from the halftime numbers, 2 fast break points for Louisiana Tech and none for Florida State, for 2 teams that have guards that like to get up and down the floor.
Well, and that's a great job and a great testament to both of these coaches, making sure that they got the emphasis across. They cannot give up transition points. We heard Matt White talk about it before the game to his team, and they've done a great job keeping Florida State out of transition.
Michael Kaiser has the ball, went to the bench early in the first half with 2 fouls. With the shot clock winding down, Smith has to just force one. Missed everything, so it's a shot clock violation. On the offensive glass, Carl White did plenty of damage. As a team, Florida State had 9 offensive rebounds.
He did. I know Carl White, the senior, the importance of the game for him, but just as well for Cordarius Johnson and Keon McNeil. Those guys came out and gave Louisiana Tech a huge lift, and it was because the small lineup, they were able to stay within striking distance in the first half.
Florida State led by as many as 11 in the first half. And now it's Boris Bojanovski. And 7'3" center from the Slovak Republic hits the jumper.
And he's getting the start in the second half over Michael Ojo because of his ability to stretch the floor just like that.
Hand check foul called on the drive by Cordarius Johnson. And Carl White picks up his 3rd. So now Leonard Hamilton has his first foul trouble decision to make. And Carl White, who picked up 2 fouls in the first 90 seconds of the second half, has to sit down as Joel Hopkins will come on.
And Joel Hopkins, a walk-on, getting minutes early in the second half for Leonard Hamilton. And he talked to us earlier about his depth, but because of the small lineup and the ability by Anderson to make plays, Leonard Hamilton not going to one of his bigs, but going to a smaller player as a power forward.
Chris Anderson fouled by Bojanovski as Anderson threw up a wild off-balance shot. And that might have been a bailout call. That will put Anderson at the free throw line. Second foul on Bojanovski. Anderson has been in double figures 11 of his last 12 games. And men's ice hockey skates towards the Frozen Four. Regional semifinals in Bridgeport and Cincinnati begin Friday at 2 Eastern on ESPNU and watch ESPN. You can find information on every championship at NCAA.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships. A steal at midcourt by Anderson. The pressure works again for Louisiana Tech. Alex Hamilton tried a little flip reverse. That wouldn't go, but Michael Kaiser kept it alive and banked home the foul.
And you see the presence of Kaiser. He wasn't there much for the first half, but you see now offensive rebounds and second chance points available to Louisiana Tech.
And a blocking foul called on what was another near turnover. Aaron Thomas hobbled as he gets up. Anderson called for the foul. That's his third.
And Anderson looks like he may have been in position. He gets set. He may have been in position to take the charge right there, but more damage may have been done with Aaron Thomas still tending to that toe. And if he's gimpy out there, it takes away a lot of his effectiveness. One of the most athletic guys that we're going to see in college basketball. But Gimpy, not sure if he can do the same thing.
He's trying to walk it off, stays in the game. And the third foul on Anderson puts him on the bench. A block inside by Kaiser. Speedy Smith lays it in, and we are tied at 39.
I wonder at what age he got that nickname. Because I'm sure he's been Speedy for a long time.
I'm going to put the over-under at 2.
Okay, I got you.
And I might go under.
He was a fast walker.
Another turnover as Florida State is having a terrible time with the Louisiana Tech pressure and the alley-oop banked home by Kaiser. The Bulldogs have the lead. And the made basket allows them to pick up full court again.
And the fans restless, understanding that many of them were here last year. And now a 5-second call, a dead ball turnover for Florida State. But Leonard Hamilton not liking what he sees.
Leonard Hamilton is complaining to Doug Shows that he called timeout before the 5 count. But Doug Shows is saying no.
At this point,
the officials at the other end called a 5 count before he recognized the timeout.
I don't think he'll get that one. If the whistle was already blown, I don't think Coach Hamilton will get that timeout. And now the ball goes back over to Louisiana Tech. And Coach Hamilton not going to burn this timeout. But right now, if Louisiana Tech gets a score here, I'm sure he's going to have to get one to get his guys settled down.
The Bulldogs have sped up the game. They have sped up Florida State, and their full court pressure has worked to perfection. A 6-point turnaround to start off the second half. Cordarius Johnson, the lob underthrown. Kaiser regathers and scores on the second effort.
And a lot of that damage done with the Carl White once he picked up that third foul, going to the bench. Leonard Hamilton having to get him back into the game, but the momentum is definitely in the favor of Louisiana Tech.
This time Florida State breaks the pressure. And it looks like they'll say the basket counts for a Carl White. A chance for a 3-point play as Cordarius Johnson is called for the foul.
And you have to be aggressive when you break the pressure going to the rim, because the defense is going to be at a disadvantage. And that time, Carl White finding his way to the rim, an opportunity for the 3-point play.
Are there fundamentals to trying to break this pressure as Louisiana Tech runs it, where you see the breakdowns for Florida State, and what, if you're Leonard Hamilton, you're telling your team in the huddle?
Well, the first thing you tell them is stay away from the sidelines. If you don't want to get close to half court, across half court, and put yourself in the position where the lines are defenders as well. And Alex Hamilton now finding his way to the rim, and you see the confidence continues to grow for Louisiana Tech as we started off the second half.
And here's Akara White up against the sideline, unloading to Booker. Booker weaves his way through traffic. White with a shot fake, stripped away by Jaron Johnson. It will stay with the Noles, but Johnson almost had a steal.
But see, you see Devin Booker in the middle of the floor. It's so difficult to trap in the middle of the floor when you have two options. But if you find yourself on the sideline, you only have one way you can go, because the defenders would use that sideline as another defender.
Aaron Thomas, good hands by Kaiser. Hamilton kicks it out. Speedy Smith with the assist, but an offensive foul call. Akara White took the charge, and if White had been called for a block, that would have been his 4th. This is a big call.
That's a huge call, and a big play by Akara White, making sure he got in position, because it takes away an easy 2 points for Louisiana Tech.
Instead, it's Speedy Smith's 2nd foul rather than Akara White's 4th. And there on the offensive glass again is Akara White. That is his 4th offensive rebound. Right back the other way, Alex Hamilton. The reverse too strong. Out of bounds. The officials will confer, and it will stay with Louisiana Tech.
But now you can see why Louisiana Tech is 2nd nationally in field goal attempts, because they move from point A to point B fast. And when you've got a guy named Speedy, it makes it much easier to do. Louisiana Tech now in control by 1.
Abel-Shoes and Corey Alexander back in Tallahassee. There's a little pressure on the Florida State band tonight.
Well, they
need to get funkadelic.
They need to get funky, but make my funk the P-Funk. Our man George Clinton in the house tonight. Special guest to Leonard Hamilton, and of course, when you've got the legend in the building, the band has to get extra funky.
Absolutely. When you know the master of the funkadelic is just on the other side of the court, you want to make a good impression.
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you in your P-Funk days. No
There's
question
no
about it.
question about it. Yeah, my next lid is going to be George Clinton-esque.
Okay.
I need to, I'm going to go to the hairdresser and let him know. I got to do something different. Scramble near midcourt, and a foul called on Okaro White. That is his fourth.
And that is huge because Florida State has been a completely different team with Okaro White on the floor. Just here alone in the second half, they've been the better team when he's on the floor. But when he's off the floor, Louisiana Tech has dominated Florida State. And you see the numbers for Okaro White, what he's done. But more importantly, that ball handler at the power forward position, he's made them much more adept at attacking this pressure.
And Leonard Hamilton brings Monte Brandon back in. So now it's 4 guards on the floor and a size advantage for Louisiana Tech. But Michael Kaiser couldn't take advantage as he missed the layup. In the first half, it was Kaiser and Chris Anderson in foul trouble, and Louisiana Tech was forced to go small. Now it's Florida State with Okaro White in foul trouble, and tack on a charge on Monte Brandon, the 10th turnover for the Noles.
And remember, we have to keep an eye on that turnover number as Cordarius Johnson gets his body right in front of Monte Brandon, and as Brandon lowers that shoulder, that is an offensive foul. But that 15 number, we talked about in the first half, Louisiana Tech 23-0 when they forced 15 or more turnovers from their opponents, and right there they're getting close, already at 10 for Florida State.
Speedy Smith for 3. Can't get the roll. And a foul called on Raheem Appleby.
That ball hung around the rim. Jarquez Smith touched it there. Fortunately, that wasn't goaltending, and that's what Speedy Smith is talking to the official about, saying that ball was in the rim. That was very close.
And the foul's starting to pile up a bit for both teams. We could shoot a lot of free throws before this game's over.
But fortunately for Louisiana Tech, the guys getting the fouls for them are on the perimeter, and they have more than enough perimeter players. That's the one guy they can't afford to lose is Kaiser, and he's showing up huge.
And now a foul called on Ian Miller. 16 fouls on Florida State, 14 fouls on Louisiana Tech, and Kaiser with the rejection.
And this is the formula for being able to turn defense into offense. Kaiser with the big block, and then again, Speedy looking like he shot out of a cannon, headed the other direction, and regardless as to whether he has numbers or not, he's so fast he can find his way to the rim.
Michael Kaiser now up to 261 career block shots. He averages over 3 blocks a game. He was best in Conference USA in shot blocking, creates the opportunity for Speedy Smith, who now goes to the line, and he can extend to a 3-point lead.
And when you look at the numbers for this Louisiana Tech team with Kaiser, with Smith, these guys are record holders at their at their university, and they're only juniors.
Yep.
They have another year to continue to add to their total.
Well, Kaiser was 15th in the country coming into tonight in block shots per game. So,
and of course, Smith second in the country in assists.
Pretty good.
and he's the 7th in steals. So you're talking about guys getting the job done on both ends of the floor.
You got your rim protector who finds a way to slap it to the playmaker. Here's Booker. No good. Deion McNeil on a run out. Crosses over and finishes. And the lead grows for Louisiana Tech. It's up to 5. And again, Florida State seems to have some trouble with this Tech pressure. They barely get across. No, it's a 10 count. Doug Shows looks up, points at the shot clock, says it went down under 25. It is a 10 count and another turnover, and based on the pressure.
Exactly right. And if the offensive team has not actually touched the basketball in the front court, it is still 10 seconds. As the ball was in the air, the clock hits 24. It is an immediate 10-second call in the backcourt. Great job by the officials. The fans here don't like it, but it is the right call.
A 5-point lead for Louisiana Tech. The biggest theme in the second half, they have turned things around with their pressure. Bob Wischusen, Corey Alexander back in Tallahassee. Akaro White with 4 fouls when he's been on the bench. Louisiana Tech with a major advantage.
And they don't have that rim protector in the game. And people talk about they want to play fast. Well, there's a commitment to it. And Louisiana Tech is committed to playing fast, but the part of it has to do with their pressure defense. As you see, the way they take away your opportunities to get the basketball down the floor. And right here, you'll see as the ball comes out of Jarquez Smith's hands, someone has to touch it in the front court for the count to go off. As the ball's in the air, at this point, at 25, once it turns 24, it's a 10-second violation. Very close right there. But as the ball is in the air, if the official looks at the clock and it says 24, it is an automatic 10-second violation.
And it looked like the right call. Closer than maybe we thought. But to your point, looked like the correct call was made. The lob broken up. Well read by Aaron Thomas as he sagged back and was able to knock the pass away from Kaiser.
And that's one right there. Aaron Thomas saving 2 points. But Johnson, if he throws that a bit higher, as Thomas is backpedaling, as great of an athlete as he is, Kaiser's going to finish that at the rim.
Nice reverse by McNeil.
And McNeil showing he's more than just a shooter. You see him crafty at the basket. And the seniors, McNeil and Johnson, have stepped up big time here tonight. These guys do not want their season to be over.
A tie-up by Johnson. Cordarius Johnson with what the officials say is a clean block. They continue to endear themselves to the fans here in Tallahassee. And Leonard Hamilton, but it's a 7-point lead for Louisiana Tech.
And we have to congratulate Cordarius Johnson going over 1,000 points tonight.
Nice cut by Aaron Thomas. Cordarius Johnson on the drive. Does not get the roll. Kaiser called for the foul. That's his 3rd. As effective as Kaiser has been, 13 minutes to go. 3 fouls, up 5. He's going to go to the bench now. But a first guess of Michael White, would you push that button and make the substitution?
No, absolutely. I think that's the right call by Michael White for a number of reasons. The small lineup has been really good for Louisiana Tech in this game. And now you have a Carl White off the floor, so it makes it easier for them to play this way.
But you don't have the rim protector. And there's Aaron Thomas going to the rim and taking advantage. Alex Hamilton right back at Bojanovsky, and the follow by Chris Anderson.
And Anderson coming up big, playing the way Kaiser would be, coming with the offensive rebound.
Bojanovsky is fouled by Anderson. That's Anderson's 4th. So a lot of interesting strategy down the stretch to see how these 2 coaches will manage their front court foul trouble. And coverage of the Division I Men's Basketball Championship Regional Semifinals begins tomorrow on CBS and TBS at 7. For more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the television ratings will be impressive in the state of Kentucky.
I believe
for one particular matchup.
Way to go way out there on that limb. I'll tell you what, you're a risky guy, Bob.
I analyze. I'm a media expert. Friday night, I'm not sure how many folks are going to be watching anything other than the Civil War.
I will.
What do you think happens in that game? As well as Kentucky has played in this tournament, and Louisville has been tremendous as well. How do you see that one going?
I see that going as 2 teams playing really well right now, and one of them's going to win, and the other season will be over.
Well, that's also you showing. I'm the media expert. Clearly, you're able to break it down from an X's and O's standpoint. Well done. Ian Miller, floater, off the window.
And although Ian Miller made that shot, the degree of difficulty is much greater with Kaiser in the game because Kaiser almost got a hand on that one as well.
Speedy Smith can't answer. Interesting that Kaiser is back in the game. Bojanowski rolls it off the rim. And here comes Speedy Smith. Bullet pass to Kaiser. Bojanowski with the stuff. But how about the gather by Speedy Smith as he maintained his composure, and it ends up as a dunk anyway.
How invaluable is that guy? You talk about Speedy Smith, who made the pass from half court, didn't give up on the play, and goes and gets the offensive rebound.
A little out of control for Brandon, and he needs some help. Instead, Kaiser takes it away. Here's Smith. Finds the trailer. Johnson missed the dunk. Jaren Johnson had a lane and missed the dunk. Miller off balance. He'll go to the line. If that's on Kaiser, that's his fourth.
Speedy makes the pass, misses it, but doesn't give up on the play. Gets it back to Kaiser, who's able to finish, and Louisiana Tech holds a 5-point lead.
Well, Kevin, foul trouble could have a lot to do with what happens down the stretch, and either Louisiana Tech or Florida State making it to Madison Square Garden. On the left, Michael Kaiser. On the right, Akara White. They both have 4 fouls apiece, as does Chris Anderson for Louisiana Tech. So the two best front court players back in foul trouble again for Tech. Akara White's been arguably the most effective front court player for either team in the game tonight. And Corey, he's got 4 as well. This could be a guard-dominated game down the stretch, and interesting to watch both head coaches and when they bring those players with 4 fouls back in.
And especially when you talk about Akara White, because with him on the floor, his plus-minus is great. Because with him on the floor, Florida Staters have been commanding in this game, but without him, they've struggled, especially here in the second half. And Akara White with 19 points in 19 minutes, along with 7 rebounds. So he's been very valuable, but with 4 fouls, he's going to have to watch for a while from the sidelines.
Cordarius Johnson comes back on. And this is the lineup that was very effective when Louisiana Tech went small in the first half. The all-time leading three-point shooter in Louisiana Tech history is Keon McNeil, and he does it again.
Yeah, I'm just so impressed with McNeil and Johnson and what these guys have done. Johnson in the first half, 11 points, and McNeil has come out and been huge here in the second half.
Aaron Thomas to the rim.
And you see, that's what Florida State wants to do. They want to get it to Johnson, to Thomas in the middle. McNeil unable to finish that 3, but they want the ball in Aaron Thomas's hands in the middle of the pressure and have him in attack mode going to the rim.
Booker drives it. Can't score. Bojanowski keeps it alive. What a difference it makes when the shot blockers aren't in the game. Specifically Kaiser for Louisiana Tech. And now Speedy Smith picks up his 3rd personal.
And you see it's a focus by Florida State to get the ball to the rim. And even if they don't finish, they have the 7-3 Boris Bojanowski in there for the offensive rebounds. Now both teams, as we mentioned before, in the bonus. So free throws are going to come extremely important going down the stretch of this game.
17 foul on Florida State, so it's a 1-and-1, or check that, 18 foul on Louisiana Tech. So it's a 1-and-1 for Bojanowski. 16 fouls against Florida State, so the next foul will be a 1-and-1 for Tech. Boris Bojanowski at 7'3" is the tallest player in Florida State history. And he added 20 pounds from last year to this year, as he's up to 240. But it still looks like he could add 20 to 25 more.
That's because you saw Michael Ojo. And when you see Michael Ojo stand beside anyone, they look like they need to gain a few pounds.
Bojanowski makes the free throws, goes to the bench, and Robert Gilchrist comes back up. 2-point game. Johnson for 3, barely draws iron. A chance for Florida State to tie or take the lead. Thomas for three. Yes. The Noles back on top by one. Cordarius Johnson can't answer. And off the miss, Tech can't set up that pressure.
And we talked about Aaron Thomas and him becoming the leader of this team. Now with Carl White on the bench, Aaron Thomas stepping up, making a huge shot, and Leonard Hamilton putting the ball in his hands at crunch time.
Thomas again. In and out. And the rebound pulled down by Alex Hamilton. Nearly threw it away at midcourt. Speedy Smith able to finish. And just like that, Louisiana Tech retakes the lead with 9 minutes to go.
But you can't gamble on Speedy. If you miss that pass, it only takes him about 0.5 seconds to get to the rim. I looked at someone dive for the basketball, and as soon as I turned my head, Speedy was laying it up.
Brandon draws the foul on the drive. Cordarius Johnson tried to take the charge, called for the block.
And in the backcourt, if you gamble, if you don't get it, it normally puts your team at a disadvantage. And when you've got a guy this fast getting to the rim, you're at a tremendous disadvantage. Speedy taking advantage of every opportunity that he has.
He is a blur. Kenneth Speedy Smith, only a junior from St. Petersburg. And according to Michael White, said he's as good a passer as there is in the country. You combine that with the speed that he plays at, he can make baskets happen like lightning.
And he only had one Division I offer coming out of high school.
Hard to believe.
And that was late by, of course, Michael White, who was able to go get him after he got the job in late March. He went and got Speedy, he got Appleby, and he got Kaiser. And that is the core of this group that has brought Louisiana Tech basketball back into relevance. It was a two-shot shooting foul at the other end, and of course, Monte Brandon missed the first shot, so the officials somewhat dropping the ball there. But the ball should have never come down to the other end. It was a two-shot foul. Monte Brandon attacked the basket and was shooting. Been missing the first one. They played it as though it was a 1-and-1. The officials recognizing it a little late, but they got it right.
And they have to adjust the clock as well, which they have now done. So now Brandon will shoot his second. Tie game.
I tell you, Bob, every time I do a game and I have to talk about officials, it makes me love my job even more. That's one job. It doesn't matter how good you are. You can't win when you're wearing the black and white stripes out there.
Alex Hamilton needs some help. And now it's Smith. Cordarius Johnson tried to skip past to McNeil, and it was read by Ian Miller.
Great play by Ian Miller, being in help side defensively, but understanding he could get his hand on that basketball. And Miller, of course, with a nice pass to Booker, was unable to handle it under the basket. Miller playing gimpy, but able to make the defensive stop on the other end.
13 turnovers for Florida State, and that had nothing to do with Louisiana Tech. Most of the turnovers for the Noles have been forced, certainly by that Tech pressure. That time just a fumble out of bounds by Booker on what should have been a layup.
We'll continue to keep an eye on that turnover number. 15, the magic number for Louisiana Tech.
McNeil, shot fake, no good. The tip follow won't go for Anderson. Another chance on the offensive glass. McNeil kept it alive. The bank not there for Hamilton. And now Speedy Smith runs it down in the corner after Chris Anderson got a hand on it. Outside Hamilton, a three. That won't go. Another offensive rebound. Anderson tried the putback, but it was blocked by Robert Gilchrist. 5 chances for Louisiana Tech, and they end up 0 for 5.
But you have to love the energy for both of these teams right now. You can see that sense of urgency is really kicking in.
Miller hits a three. Michael White wants timeout.
We talked about the seniors from both of these teams stepping up, not wanting their career to be over. And Ian Miller, the senior from Florida State, playing with turf toe, still jumper, still wet.
In ACC play, no one shot it better from three during the conference season than Ian Miller. 45% during ACC games, #1 in the conference. And coverage of the Division I Women's Basketball Championship continues Saturday with the Sweet 16. We'll start off our doubleheader at noon. 3rd seed Kentucky takes on the 2 seed Baylor. And then at 2:30, Oklahoma State will be looking to end Notre Dame's pursuit of perfection. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. As on the women's side, it looks like Notre Dame and UConn are on a collision course to meet at some point. But last year, we saw the big upset when Baylor was knocked out by Louisville. We'll see if we get an upset on the women's side this year. And there's the Heisman Trophy winner, Jameis Winston, watching the Noles hoop team take a 3-point lead into the final 7 minutes. Shot clock to 8. Speedy Smith tries a 3 off the mark.
Bob, one of the things that we talked with Coach Hamilton about earlier today was making sure that his guards were fresh at the end of this game. Will the pressure of Louisiana Tech get into the legs of Aaron Thomas, Ian Miller, and Devin Booker, who've had to play heavy minutes here tonight?
And we're right about at that time, inside of 6 minutes, when Leonard Hamilton was worried. That 3 rims out for Brandon. And the rebound taken by Smith in the corner, but he stepped on the sideline. 6:09 to go. The winner goes to the Garden. Louisiana Tech and Florida State down the stretch in the NIT.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the 2014 Mazda 3 with seamless connectivity.
This is the second trip to the NIT quarterfinals for both of these programs. As back in 1986, Louisiana Tech made it to Madison Square Garden, lost to Ohio State once they got to the semifinals there. And for the Florida State Seminoles, they haven't been to Madison Square Garden, but the one trip back in 1997, they reached the championship game, but lost to Michigan. That's the fight to see who gets a chance to take on Minnesota on April 1st in one of our 2 semifinal matchups in the NIT at the Garden. And when will Akara White come back in with 4 fouls? Already we see that Michael Kaiser is reinserted into the game by Michael White with 4 fouls. So both Kaiser and Chris Anderson with 4 fouls for Louisiana Tech on the floor. Akara White, with 6 minutes to go, continues to sit for Florida State.
And that's probably because Florida State has a 3-point lead, so Leonard Hamilton will buy as much time as he can and probably try to get to that under 4 timeout to make sure he has Akara White on the floor when it becomes most important for Florida State to finish the game.
That's Corey Alexander. I'm Bob Wischusen. Down the stretch in the NIT quarterfinals in Tallahassee. 6 minutes to go. Booker, contested shot. He had to try and float it over Michael Kaiser, and he came up short. Smith attacks. He comes up short. Kaiser the follow. That won't go, and it's cleared by Bojanovski. Ian Miller shovels one to a wide-open Monte Brandon.
Transition defense. Michael White talked about it before the game, how important it was.
Kaiser the follow off the miss from Smith.
And Michael Kaiser coming up with a big basket and a big answer for Louisiana Tech. The Bulldogs needing points as Florida State has started to mount a bit of momentum here at home.
Carl White continues to sit on Leonard Hamilton's bench, coming up on 5 minutes to go. Thomas, no. Bojanovski, offensive rebound. Looking for a foul, no call. Here comes Hamilton. On the bounce pass, looking for Smith. He went hard into the stanchion, fouled by Devin Booker. And Smith might be hurt. He lost his balance. And boy, he slammed into the padded backing of the stanchion under the basket.
I tell you what, I've only known Smith for today, and he is hurt, but he's not injured. There's no way he's coming out of this game. This guy is too tough. You can see that from him, and he's sitting over there talking to the officials, and everyone now checking on him. But you look at this guy, there's no way he's going to sit down.
And it looks like they will say that he was in the act of shooting. So rather than it being a 1-and-1, it looks as if they'll call it a 2-shot foul. No, they now change it. It looks like it is a 1-and-1. Speedy Smith is still trying to shake off the effects of that collision.
And one thing we can't forget about, Smith is a Florida native. Family and friends, I'm sure, in town. And he wants to walk away from here with the win. And we talked about only one scholarship offer coming out of high school. You best believe in the back of his mind, he wants to prove to Florida State that they should have been one of those schools offering him.
And now it's a Carl White back in with 4 fouls. There at the line for Smith. When Carl White went to the bench with his 4th foul, it was 45-44 Louisiana Tech with 4 minutes gone by in the second half. So
Florida State had the lead when he went to the bench with his 3rd foul. And so without him on the floor, it's been a struggle for Florida State, especially handling the pressure.
They made up a couple of points with him on the bench. Bojanovski, offensive glass fouled, and that might foul out Kaiser. Michael Kaiser is done.
And it's the aggressiveness again. Aaron Thomas getting the ball in the middle of the floor, and he's not going to settle. And right now, Florida State is not going to take their foot off the gas pedal. No question about it. It is a foul. You see Kaiser come down, smacking the arm of Aaron Thomas. And as much as he wants to argue, that's going to be a foul. And we'll see how the Bulldogs adjust without their leading shot blocker and their post presence on the floor, Michael Kaiser.
The whistle also gives Leonard Hamilton a chance to manage his substitutions. He takes a Carl White back out of the game. He's got Robert Gilchrist at the scorer's table. Looks like he'll come on for Bojanovski. Aaron Thomas was 6th in the ACC at 81% from the line.
Leonard Hamilton continues to try to buy time with the Carl White, get him out, especially when they're going to be on the defensive end of the floor. So he'll be much of an offensive defensive substitution for as long as Coach Hamilton can continue to do it. But once we get to the latter stage of this game, Carl White will stay on the floor as long as he can stay away from picking up that 5th foul.
3-point lead for Florida State. Speedy Smith to the corner. Anderson. He'll drive. Came up short. Gilchrist took it away. To the baseline. Thomas. Yes.
How good has he been? Every time they need a basket, Aaron Thomas has been able to provide one.
16th consecutive game, Aaron Thomas in double figures.
And of course, it makes it a lot better for him attacking that rim with Kaiser not standing there in the paint.
Alex Hamilton forces one up. Can't get the roll. The rebound to Aaron Thomas. Monte Brandon posting up, leans in and uses the window. 7-point advantage for the Noles.
Well, you can tell throughout the second half, it's been a focus of Florida State to get the ball in the interior.
Speedy Smith on the drive, and that's a big bucket for the Bulldogs. A double-double for Speedy Smith. Aaron Thomas not wasting any time. And Speedy Smith, he never wastes time. Here he goes. Off to Hamilton. Hit, and he's able to finish. What a tremendous bucket by Alex Hamilton. And a chance for a three-point play when we come back. How did he finish?
You talk about Speedy doesn't waste time. He gets it into the hand of Hamilton, who knows exactly how to finish.
All right, Kevin, thanks very much. And we have a terrific game on our hands here as well. One possession game with 2:49 to go. And Corey Alexander, Aaron Thomas has been terrific again. Third straight NIT game where he's gone over 20 points.
Well, he's become the best player for the Seminoles later in the season. And the guy that was coming off the bench early, but Leonard Hamilton knows that he can go to Aaron Thomas for production. And he's delivering every time out.
Alex Hamilton can't finish the three-point play, so it's a three-point game. Here's the pressure, though, set up by Louisiana Tech, this time broken by the Noles.
And you see a Carl White back on the floor for Florida State, and what a luxury to have your power forward, now really your center, handling the basketball, but he ends up turning it over.
Chris Anderson takes it away. Carl White playing with 4 fouls. Michael Kaiser, an all-defensive selection last year in the WAC, this year in Conference USA. He has fouled out for Louisiana Tech. Chris Anderson on the floor playing with 4 fouls for Tech. Off-balance shot by Smith won't go. Carl White pulls it down.
Florida State content to milk the clock right here. Try to get a shot up under 10 seconds, but not give Louisiana Tech as much time on the offensive end.
Monte Brandon leans in. He's got it with 2 on the shot clock. Hamilton to the corner. Anderson thought about a 3, now tries it. Too strong. And the rebound to Devin Booker. Carl White gets it across the timeline, and now he gets it to a guard in Monte Brandon. Under a minute to go. Booker lobs. White can't finish. It caroms instead in the corner to Aaron Thomas. 8 to shoot. And a timeout called by Leonard Hamilton with 6 on the shot clock. Florida State trying to protect a 5-point lead. Coming up next, about 5 minutes from now, the tip set in Dallas. SMU and Cal will play for the other remaining spot at Madison Square Garden in the NIT Final Four. Aaron Thomas has done all he can to try and get the Noles to New York City.
And he's done it in many different ways, but he's been the one guy in the middle of the press that's been able to find his way to the rim and really take advantage of the mismatches for Louisiana Tech without Kaiser at the rim and knocking down the jump shots. Aaron Thomas has done it every possible way, and of course the finish with the 2 hands.
Aaron Thomas is tonight's 5-star player of the game, brought to you by Wrangler. He had 22 points against Florida Gulf Coast, 26 points in the win over Georgetown in 38 minutes, and only a rebound away from a double-double tonight. And he was only honorable mention All-ACC. You got some good players in your league. If Aaron Thomas can't even make third team.
Yes, you do. And Aaron Thomas, of course, came off the bench for the first part of the season. And midway through, Leonard Hamilton decided to starting he and Ian Miller. Ian Miller was the coach's vote for Sixth Man of the Year. But I tell you what, I'm sure Aaron Thomas got a lot of votes on that as well.
Here's a must stop for Louisiana Tech. 6 to shoot. Booker rises up. Banks home a three. That is a killer for the Bulldogs.
Well, you couldn't have defended it any better if you're Louisiana Tech. Knowing that they're underneath, they have a short clock. Speedy Smith does a great job defending and contesting the shot without fouling. For Florida State, it's just their night when you're making that. Especially at this crucial part of the game, and you've got George Clinton doing the tomahawk chop. It's just your time for the Seminoles.
The tomahawk chop just became funkadelic. So now with 38.9 seconds to go, Louisiana Tech can score like lightning. If there's a team that's down a few possessions, this probably would be the team that you would say might still be in it in the Bulldogs, but as fast as Speedy Smith can go, someone now has to make a shot.
But after that three-pointer, now the ball is in Florida State's court. It's simply about not turning it over, making free throws when you get fouled. But with the 8-point advantage and only 39 seconds left to play, this one should be in the books if you take care of your business.
Although Louisiana Tech, at least for portions of this game, been very effective with that full court pressure. So you can get a 10 count, you can get a backcourt turnover if you are able to convert at the offensive end. We'll see first things first if Louisiana Tech can get a bucket on this possession. And the journey to the Frozen Four in Philadelphia continues with regional semifinals and finals from Worcester, St. Paul, and Cincinnati. Saturday at 4 Eastern on ESPNU, and watch ESPN. Find information on every championship at NCAA.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships.
And the officials did go back and review. They've added 2 seconds to the clock, now 41.3 seconds. And when you've got Speedy on the floor, those 2 seconds make a difference.
He'll go right to the rim and finish. And now the full court pressure for Louisiana Tech. They have been very effective at times in the game. Almost getting the turnover here. Tying up Aaron Thomas, but a foul called.
And
32.6 to go.
Aaron Thomas having to be careful right there. He threw somewhat of an elbow in that trap. The official, and he didn't make contact with anybody. I'm not sure if the officials saw it, but that left arm of Aaron Thomas, that could have been a turning point.
Instead, an 81% free throw shooter will shoot the double bonus at the other end. And he misses the first. And here's how close he came.
Well, you see, watch the left on that right there. If that makes contact, that could possibly be a flagrant foul with free throws and getting the ball back. So very fortunate that that didn't make contact, and you don't want to put yourself in that position if you're Aaron Thomas. Just be strong in the trap and take the foul.
7-point game. Speedy Smith, a little delay, kicks it out, a foul called. So that will put Speedy Smith at the free throw line with 28 seconds to go.
And 13 seconds ago, as far as game clock, we were talking about an 8-point advantage, and Florida State just needing to take care of business. But as you mentioned, this Louisiana Tech team, they can make things happen quickly, and now an opportunity to cut it 5 to 5, and more importantly, be able to set up their full court pressure.
Aaron Thomas called for his third foul. And Speedy Smith hits the first. Michael Kaiser fouled out, forced to watch from the sideline. Smith makes them both, and that not only sets up a chance for Louisiana Tech to put the pressure on, but it also allows Michael White to use one of his 3 remaining timeouts.
I can tell you right now that no one in this building, especially Leonard Hamilton and his coaching staff, are comfortable with only a 5-point lead with still 28 seconds left, which seems like an eternity when you're playing against Louisiana Tech.
And that pressure that you know is coming. Coming up next, it's Cal and SMU for the final of the 4 spots at Madison Square Garden. And what a great guard matchup we'll have between Justin Cobbs and Nick Moore.
You're really 2 of the best in the country when you talk about the point guard matchup. And Larry Brown, his team, of course, feeling as though they should have been in the NCAA tournament, and many people feel the same. But one way to show that that was the case is to come out and get to New York and have a chance to win the NIT.
How much of Leonard Hamilton's huddle right now is just purely about trying to draw up press break?
Well, first, getting the ball in bounds. We've seen, pressure from Louisiana Tech, being able to affect them, just getting the ball in bounds alone. And then once you get it in, being strong enough with the basketball, you can't just sit there because Louisiana Tech will take the chance of trying to turn you over, especially in the backcourt, before they give you a foul. So it's not going to be an automatic foul when you get it in. You have to be strong with the basketball.
As former Virginia star Corey Alexander, I'm Bob Wischusen. 28 seconds to go in Tallahassee. 5-point lead for the Noles, but they have to find a way to at least get the ball across the midcourt stripe, as Louisiana Tech will bring their pressure. And at the end of the game, you wonder about the fatigue factor of these Florida State guards you talked about earlier.
They played heavy minutes. Aaron Thomas close to 40 minutes. Devin Booker been out there 35 plus.
Monte Brandon throws it in. Turning the corner is Ian Miller. Gets caught up against the sideline and goes behind the back. What a nifty move. And Akaro White will go to the line. He shoots it at 80%. What a play by Miller.
And Ian Miller understanding he gets close to that sideline, having to get away, using the great ball handling and getting into Akaro White, who is a very good free throw shooter, with an opportunity to try to put this game away for the Seminoles, at least make it a 3-possession game. 2 of the 3 seniors for this Florida State team, along with Gilchrist, and they want to continue their careers in New York City.
Only 1 of 2 at the line. It has to come in a hurry now for Louisiana Tech, though. Smith to the corner. Appleby for 3. Got it! A timeout called by Michael White. It's not over yet. 1-possession game with 18.6 seconds to go.
It is amazing how fast they get the ball down the floor off of the miss. Get the ball to Speedy, let him make something happen. A defensive breakdown by Florida State. 2 guys going at Speedy, taking him away, leaving Appleby wide open in the corner. We mentioned Appleby, who was the best player for this Louisiana Tech team early in the season, stepping up big, knocking down a huge 3 to get them within 1 possession.
Speedy Smith has been just that tonight. He is a playmaker.
He really is, and the Apple nickname Speedy, but he gets the ball up and down the floor so quickly, and not only just an assist guy, 14 rebounds here tonight, and also to go along with 12 points. He's done it all for his team, and he's the guy you can't gamble on because he will burn you every time.
So now, after using basically 4 seconds off the clock, off of a missed free throw to get a wide open 3. That's how fast Louisiana Tech gets it in the front court. The pressure's back on Florida State in a 1-possession game to try and beat the press.
And that's how fast Speedy is. He scored 4 more points since I saw it.
Right.
He actually had 16 points and not 12. So he's finding ways to get it done. And you're talking about a valuable player. And the most important thing about Speedy, he's got another year. He's a guy, he and Kaiser, Appleby, you got to look out for this Louisiana Tech team, regardless as to whether they advance tonight or not. You look at this group next year, and the mountaintop of them will be playing in the NCAA tournament, getting over the hump.
Michael White last year won the first ever WAC regular season championship for Louisiana Tech and jumps into Conference USA and wins the Conference USA regular season title this year.
And because of that, awarded with a 5-year contract extension. And I'm sure the faithful at Louisiana Tech understand what a gem they have in Michael White and doing a great job in locking him up for another 5 years.
And the officials are over at the monitor. We can only presume they're taking a look at the clock just to make sure the exact right amount of time is on the clock. And as fast as Louisiana Tech moves the ball, there's a difference between 18.6 and 18.8.
It is, because you've got Speedy. When you've got Speedy, 2.2 seconds matters.
Okaro White with the missed free throw at 22.9 and 18.6 now on the clock. And off of this, they get a wide open three.
Well, it took a while for the clock to start. So it froze early, so the officials are going to go over there. Maybe, well, they got it to 17 now. More time coming off the clock, and that's about right. Well, now it's 16. We'll have to see what they settle on.
It looks as if they are settling on 16 seconds. So now the clock corrects, and Florida State has to try and beat the Louisiana Tech pressure again. It's in the corner to Ian Miller. He is trapped. Nowhere to go. Ripped away. Held ball. Guess who owns the arrow? Louisiana Tech down by 3, and they've got the ball.
You couldn't script this any better if you're Matt White. And the way that he has his guys playing, and of course, they're not going to foul. We mentioned it before. They're going to take their chances on getting the turnover in the backcourt. They have more than enough time, and tremendous trap getting Ian Miller. And this is the one place, it's called dead man's corner. You do not want to catch the basketball. It's like having 4 defenders, 2 on you, a sideline and a baseline. And Louisiana Tech, the Bulldogs, doing a great job. Coach White right there in the trap as well, standing off the court, cheering his team on.
Now, as fast as Louisiana Tech can score, I'm going to ask a dumb question. 12.6 seconds to go. Do they have to go for 3?
I don't think they have to go for 3 right now, but at this point, I believe, especially when you're on the road, you want to see if you can get a quality look, and you don't have any timeouts left, so you want to see if you can get a quality look for 3. Now, if an easy 2 opens up, you take it immediately to conserve time, but other than that, you probably want to go for the 3 now to give yourself a chance for offensive rebound and kick out for a 3 if you don't make it.
Although if Louisiana Tech, their best possibility, again, to play devil's advocate, the quick 2 lets them set the pressure up again.
Well, and they may be able to get a quick 2 before Florida State trying to take away the 3.
Now, the challenge for Tech is where they have to inbound the ball as well.
Well, and you also have the opportunity, if you're Florida State, to play it down if they have the ball away from the basket and then foul. Don't give them an opportunity to shoot a 3-pointer.
Now, Leonard Hamilton will call a timeout. And he had 2 remaining, so he's going to spend 1 here.
I'm sure that's something that's going through the mind of Leonard Hamilton. If they don't run something immediately to get a 3, if that clock starts to come down and the ball is away from the basket and you're not in attack mode, they may foul and just put Louisiana Tech on the line.
12.6 seconds to go. Louisiana Tech has it, down by 3. And we'll see what they do after we check in with Kevin Connors. Well, Kevin, we could be in for a wild finish. It was 76-68 Florida State with 41 seconds to go. But Aaron Thomas, an 81% free throw shooter, went to the line, missed one of his 2 free throws. Okaro White also with a chance at the line. He went 1 of 2. He's an 80% free throw shooter. And off of that White miss, Louisiana Tech got an open 3 from Raheem Appleby that only took about 6 seconds off the clock.
And we talked about for Florida State at that point, it was somewhat academic. What they had to do was take care of their business at the free throw line. That has not happened, and now they find themselves in a situation where they have to defend against Louisiana Tech, holding a 3-point lead, but Tech with the momentum.
21 in blue, Keon McNeil is the all-time leading 3-point shooter in Louisiana Tech history. He's in the top left corner of your screen with his back to the baseline. They run him off a screen. The ball inbounded. Here's Smith, hands it back outside. Appleby tries a 3. Too strong. And the rebound pulled down by Monte Brandon. 4.8 seconds to go.
And Florida State doing a great job not giving Speedy an opportunity to get downhill, turn the corner, get to the basket. The help is there. Not a bad look from Appleby, unable to finish it, but Florida State doing a great job coming up with the rebound. And more importantly, Speedy Smith now out of this game after 16 points, 14 rebounds. Tremendous game for him, but they'll have to finish it without their floor general.
Now, Monte Brandon is only a 62% free throw shooter. But now, with Speedy Smith and Michael Kaiser both fouling out, even if somehow by a miracle Louisiana Tech can get this game to overtime, that's two really big weapons that the Bulldogs are without. So it has certainly advantaged Florida State, and Brandon could all but ice the game if he can make 1 of 2 at the line.
But if he doesn't make one, you look forward to seeing the ball in Hamilton's hands, pushing it down the floor, and seeing if he can get Appleby or McNeil a look for a 3 to try to tie it up.
It's the double bonus, automatic 2, and he misses the first. Will Louisiana Tech have one more look? And if Brandon misses this free throw, does Florida State set up to foul? He misses. Tapped in the air. Alex Hamilton at midcourt to the corner. Appleby comes up short. And Louisiana Tech at the buzzer falls here in Tallahassee. Florida State is going to Madison Square Garden. Well, Corey Alexander, Louisiana Tech with 2 looks at the basket in the closing moments to try and get the tie, and Appleby missed both.
They had their chance, and Appleby, who got knocked down the three-pointer to make it a one-possession game, unable to make either of the last 2.
You couldn't ask for much more when you're down 8 with 40 seconds to go than have a chance to tie it twice, but Louisiana Tech comes up short, and Florida State avenges their loss to the Bulldogs last year. They are going to Madison Square Garden to meet Minnesota. SMU and Cal underway. The winner of that game advances to the Garden to play Clemson. Louisiana Tech falls by 3. Florida State wins